Well, it's the hottest tech story right now. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are facing off again. No, not in a cage match, even though we want to see that, but instead over Meta's new app. It's called Threads. The Twitter competitor just launched this week, and Musk, well, he is not happy about it, sending Zuckerberg a cease and desist letter accusing him of hiring ex-Twitter employees and stealing trade secrets there. So it is definitely a showdown between the tech giants right now. And for the latest here on this legal battle, right now we are joined by business and compliance attorney Seth Berenzweig. Seth, thanks so much for joining us here today on Live Now from Fox. We always appreciate it here. We would just want to know just how of a serious threat right now is this by Elon? Is this a serious legal threat, or is it right now just positioning to show some power?
Well, so far it's really just positioning. This has been a cease and desist warning letter from Twitter to Meta and Mr. Zuckerberg, making it clear that there is an allegation of taking employees and a misappropriation of trade secret. It includes something that's pretty traditional in the trade secret litigation world, which is a demand for preservation of evidence. That's not really surprising. And as we can talk about, sometimes the bark is worse than the bite when it comes to these kinds of threats and litigation. And it's not uncommon to see these kinds of arrows thrown against direct competitors. Of course, these are two of the big tech titans in the industry. And the fact that this new platform has already received over 70 million followers is very telling about the high level of competition involved here.
And Seth, just how hard is it for a company to try to prove that intellectual property was stolen and benefiting another company like Meta?
These cases are tough, make no mistake about it, and particularly involving high-tech companies on the West Coast. There are a few examples that I can show you to demonstrate how this case would be a significant uphill battle for Twitter and Elon Musk. First, we're talking about the nature of law in California. California has a unique wrinkle that generally does not enforce non-competes. So what that means, and that's relatively uncommon on a state-to-state basis in the nation, California will not enforce non-competes, and therefore there's absolutely nothing wrong per se with hiring a competitor's employees. Also, when you dig deeper into the facts of this case, it's important to note that in this kind of litigation, it's going to be important for a company in Twitter's position to demonstrate more than just copycatting or imitating the overall look and feel of the platform in order to succeed in trademarks. In just a trademark litigation, what you have to demonstrate is actual theft of intellectual property, and here it would be the specific source code. So absent that kind of a specific demonstration, the fact that you have a very similar look and feel is not going to be enough. So these kinds of cases are not easy to prove in a court of law.
Yeah, Seth, and I'm interested, too, because Congress for years has been talking about wanting to break up big tech giants like Alphabet, Google, and Facebook as well. Does this sort of like cease and desist warning kind of raise the temperature in the room when it comes to these big tech giants here, and just talking about how much really control and reach they have as a company?
Well, it's a great question because here in Washington, there are many people on Capitol Hill that love to break up tech. They just want to take a big sledgehammer and they want to break up these companies, albeit for different reasons. But one of the reasons is market dominance. Well, the best antidote to market dominance is competition, and this is exactly what's happening here. You have direct competition. This is being called a Twitter killer. Now, that may be a little bit of hyperbole, but it just goes to show you that the free market forces sometimes are the best antidote to very big tech. In this kind of an instance, it's going to be very difficult for Musk to fight back and try to keep Meta out of the ballgame, because other than showing that somebody actually stole and brought over source code, there's no way to keep them from competing. This platform already has over 70 million users. So as you have increased competition, you'll probably see that perhaps some of those on Capitol Hill here in Washington will be less concerned about dominance from big tech.
Yeah, that's such a great point there. And looking at really the reach that Meta has there, especially with Threads, you mentioned the 70 million users already, and they have it connected with Instagram there, another hugely popular app there. And they're able to really ping pong that effect there. And that is what is driving Elon Musk to really be worried, because those numbers are far outreaching Twitter.
Absolutely. And think about historically how fluid some of the companies in the social media space are. I mean, we don't really talk about companies like MySpace anymore, right? The reason why you have these monumental sea changes and shifts in the world of big tech is because of innovation. Now, you could argue that this isn't extremely innovative because this is really just kind of a bootstrap to Instagram, but this is really a big deal. This is a major development in the world of social media. And based upon what is being indicated from the demand letter, it is quite possible that within the next week or so, we could see litigation for trade secret misappropriation in court in California. But in the meantime, they are really making big strides, and this is taking huge market share away from Twitter.
Yeah, and it's just like you said there, really taking the whole talk and really dominance away from Twitter there, and just really giving it right now. All the talk in big tech right there is about this Threads and Meta situation. And, it's so interesting to see, too, on people on Twitter, they're tweeting that, hey, here's my Thread account there. And that has to burn Elon Musk there when you're seeing that cross promotion there to come on over to Threads there.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg actually just kind of threw some shade out, because for the first time in over a decade, he tweeted on Twitter, and he put out a very interesting kind of a cartoon where one Spider-Man was pointing at another Spider-Man, kind of a thinly veiled threat that there's going to be another superhero in town, so to speak. And the thing that's really interesting about that is that it really tells me that Mark Zuckerberg is feeling pretty confident, because he knows, and his intellectual property litigators have probably said to him, it doesn't matter if it has the same look and feel. It doesn't matter if you take these former employees. This is a very hard burden. And keep in mind also that a lot of this harm arguably was self-imposed. Remember when Elon Musk cavalierly walked into the Twitter office after he closed and bought the company? He walked in one quirky day carrying a sink. He threw out 75% of the workforce. These folks have no loyalty to him. It's not a surprise that they go across the street. They are allowed to compete, especially in California. So this is absolutely going to be a dispute that will be heating up over the coming days.
Yeah, it really will be. And Seth, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox, as always, to kind of break down some of the biggest legal stories that we are following. And we know that Elon and Mark are teasing a possible cage match there, and maybe now it'll really come true, and maybe we'll see some real swings there as well.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring a few lawyers in the ring. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, Seth, thanks so much for joining us here, as always, on Live Now from Fox. And wanted to show our viewers here, once again, this is what Seth was mentioning there, the Mark Zuckerberg tweet there that had everyone really taking note there, since it was his first tweet there in a while.